recording, is it good?
Yeah, it just started
Yeah.
recording. We are picking up audio. Could you say something?
My name is Laurie Glass. I'm a professor emerita in the School of Nursing, and I've been here since 1975.
All right. I'm just going to move it a little bit closer.
Gotcha. Do we want her looking at the camera? Do you want her looking at me during the interview, right?
Yeah.
Like the
Looking
camera?
at you would be easier.
Look at you?
Yep. We're
Yeah.
gonna just pretend that camera isn't there.
Okay,
Yeah, as
otherwise
much
I
as
was
it's-
gonna say, if you wanna do a
Yeah.
little bit, if you moved over that way, I would sort of be,
Oh,
you know.
Yeah, it's
I
fine.
could
then
do
it would
that.
be a- Yeah, then it
Alright.
would be a little different
Nice.
angle.
Look at
not
us, real
straight on.
recorders. Okay.
And I'm going to move this chair over by the camera just to keep watch.
I can close the door too.
Yeah, that would help with audio. The lighting looks good, though.
That's good,
Yeah.
because we have various lamps around here and stuff.
So, hi.
Hi!
So, at first, I want to start by asking you to please introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about what you do here at the university and what your role is in this building.
Okay, as I said, my name is Laurie Glass, and I'm Professor Emerita in the School of Nursing, and I am the director of the Center for Nursing History in the School of Nursing, and manage the museums, the 3 gallery rooms that we have here on the ground floor. I've been here since 1975, and I got my PhD in nursing history and nursing research from the University of Illinois, Chicago and stuff. So, and in my career here, I have taught undergraduate, master's, doctoral students. I was the chair of the executive committee, which is the chair of the faculty. I've been department chair. I've done lots of different stuff in the number of years that I was actively working as a faculty member.
Could you talk just a little bit about like the history of the building, like as far as you know from like when you started working here, like how?
Well, and even before that, the reason this building was built was because nursing was located in like 7 different spots. They were located in the old health center, which was way over off of Maryland. They were located in 2 houses on Maryland, where now the School of Architecture is. And the older faculty used to talk about whose office was the kitchen and whose office was where, and how you had to walk through some people's offices to get to yours. They were also over here. There was, where this parking lot is, there was houses and stuff. And so they were scattered all over. Some people had offices in St. Mary's Hospital. So if they had clinical nursing, you have lecture courses and you have clinical courses where they go into the hospitals. And so faculty that had clinical courses were over there. So there was a great need for one building to bring people together. So the dean at the time, Inez Hinsvark, designed the building and worked to get the money through the state. And at the time, there was federal funding for healthcare buildings. And so this building was funded with a multi-million-dollar grant from the federal government. And that meant that it could only be used for nursing for so many years. I think it was 30-some years. And so in the early 2000s, that ran out. And so then other departments could move in, but really there's no room for them. So they started the construction on the building in February of 1971, and it was completed and they moved in September of 73. So if you can imagine in this day, building this whole building in approximately 18 months.
Wow.
And stuff. So the building is 7 stories, and 3 of them are underground. In fact, the other end of this building is underground. So that if you come in on the soccer field, from the soccer field you come in on the 1st floor. If you come in on Hartford, you come in on the ground floor.
What goes on that bottom 3 floors?
Well, then there's 2 more floors underneath us, the B level and the B100. So the B level is essentially custodian, loading dock. I have 2 storage rooms down there and mechanicals for the theater, the stuff, and then the photography in B100. Photography just moved back in they were gone for years, but it used to be B100 was the all of UWM's multimedia. So all the guys, the photography, the guys that did all kinds of media coverage, it was very handy because I knew them all, and it was media communications department, I think. So when we needed to take our videotapes and have them made to DVDs, I just walked around the corner and talked to the guys, and they did that kind of work and stuff. So the TV studio is on the B100 level also. And like I said, for years people weren't there, but in the last year and a half, they started coming back. And their photography is now down there and stuff. So that's the buildings underground. The first floor is the student floor with the student lounge, all the advisors, classrooms and stuff. And then second floor was originally the research center. And there was like no walls. When you got off the elevator, it was there. Since then, it's been repurposed a couple of times. And the third floor was the skills lab. And if you haven't done an article on the simulation lab, you should. It's across the street in the northwest quadrant in Building B. And it is state of the art. And the nursing students learn a lot of their skills in the simulation lab, as now do also, I think, physical therapy is over there and occupational therapy. But it was on the third floor. And they had beds, wards like hospitals. They had all kinds of, there was originally the small computer lab was there. Oh, that's the other thing about this building. When it opened in '73, there was a big computer in the basement. And in the third floor, where the students had their learning lab and stuff, there were little consoles. And the instructors could give tests on the consoles, and there was an ABCD box. And the students logged in, and their test results popped out in the basement of the mainframe computer.
Wow.
And stuff. So then the faculty member could go get it. And that's one of my storerooms now. And it's funny because it has a ramp and it has a false floor. And the false floor has holes in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so people look and say, well, this is kind of weird. I said, yeah, it was the old computer room. And nobody really wanted it when it became available. And I'm like, I'll take it, and stuff. So that was another unique feature. And that was related to the third floor, where they had extensive media library. And, this is all before we could access any stuff online. I mean, I think the first computers for faculty that came into this building were '83 and stuff. But, otherwise, we had a librarian. Faculty members turned in their list of movies they wanted to show in class, and she ordered them so that they were there on the date the faculty member wanted them.
When you talk about the DVDs, right,
Mm-hmm.
like with the ones that you used to make in the basement, were those made as like instructional videos for the nursing students?
Yes.
Or like?
Yes. There's a number of topics, and I was involved as a patient in one or two, but also I made one with some other faculty members on politics. Everyday Politics for Nurses was the title of it. And we used to go out to the various hospitals and film. Like I know in that one there's a couple of scenes in regards to the kinds of situations nurses come up with in hospitals that really are political, even though you might not think it. Not big politics, but decision making, bullying, all kinds of stuff. So yes, and at that time they were videotapes and stuff. And I did some oral histories, and we did them in the TV studio with the professionals, filming them and stuff.
For the, I want to go back to the simulation
Mm-hmm.
part of it. Is a lot of that digital, or is it like test dummies and like all that kind of stuff? Like, can you walk us through like kinds of stuff that they learn in that?
Well, and originally there with the third floor, with the beds and stuff that they had in the different rooms, you would, sometimes the students acted as patients for each other. And then also they had rubber arms, and you started IVs on the rubber arms with a red colored solution, so it was hands-on. kind of stuff. You could put in catheters, you could do all kinds of stuff on the dummies that were, at that point, body parts, like arms, or like, heads and stuff. In fact, we have Chokey Charlie, he's upstairs in one of the storerooms because he's being, I guess, surplused. But now, when you go over there, they have full setups, full bodies, and the mannequins talk. They choke, they sneeze, they say ow, they do all kinds of things. And because it's a full body, you can do lots of different things on one mannequin. I think they even have one that delivers a baby, that has a baby. But it's pretty fascinating in this day and age to have the things. And they're all computerized. And in some instances, there is a room with one-way glass, and the faculty member has the computer. Students are on the other side with the dummy, simulation mannequin. And the faculty member, using the computer program, can make the mannequin do all kinds of stuff. So, the student, she can make the mannequin be abnormal. And if so, the student does something not quite right, she can make the mannequin, be worse. She can do all kinds of stuff on the mannequin, all computerized.
Gotcha. That's
Yeah,
really
you all
cool.
should go over there.
Yeah,
and
I was
see.
gonna ask, do you think that we could get some access to this?
Oh,
part
yeah.
Of the...
Oh,
Yeah, it's
I
all
think
open. I've seen it.
I think Jessica, who's the manager over there, would be happy. I'm taking the senior citizens over there in April to see, how healthcare is taught.
Okay.
Because, and I think, people would be interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that'd be some really cool footage.
Yes, it
So
would
yeah,
be. It would be.
Uh-huh.
And because you're from the UWM newspaper, that's good that you would, be able to, the UWM community can access some of that.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about the research floor, right? Wasn't that like floor 2, 3?
Yeah.
Mhm. What kinds of stuff do they research while they're there? Is that just like?
Well, it's where the faculty who had research projects they would like have offices and stuff there. And another example would be, now people have a different space and have different space to do that, but when this building opened and stuff, I worked with a faculty member who was testing blood pressure machines. So back in the 80s, they came out with a machine that could be in drugstores. It was a chair, and then it had a blood pressure cuff on the side of it. You stuck your arm in and put it out, and the blood pressure cuff, would inflate. And the machine was programmed to listen, and then it would give you a blood pressure reading. So we did a research project where we compared human nurse blood pressure taking with that machine, so that we could say to people whether the machine was accurate or not. Because if it's not accurate, you don't want to, put all your money on that machine when it's not being accurate for you. So the blood pressure machine that we got from the company was up there. When people would come, they would come, and we would do the testing and stuff there. So, but like I say, now there's different research labs in the building for different people, and some of them don't necessarily need labs. At one point in time, there was a lot of physiological research going on, and we had physiology labs with refrigerators and all kinds of stuff that needed to be done if they were doing any kind of testing.
Do you want to walk us through more of like the floors as we go up, like the 4th floor, 5th floor?
Yeah, 4, 5, and 6 were faculty offices. And when I came here, there was over 100 faculty. And now, because they use a different mix of clinical teaching staff and other staff members and faculty and stuff, it's different. But there's still over 100 and some people in this building when they're all here and stuff. So there's offices on 4, 5, and 6. 7 is the administrative floor. And the dean's office is up there, the head of school is up there. The faculty mailboxes, administration, building administration is there, that's where Charlie's office.
You said the dean of students is in this building?
Well, the dean for CHIPS is the dean that's up there now.
Gotcha.
But our student affairs is on the first floor and stuff, where we have all the advisors for CHIPS, which is 3 schools, and stuff, and the study help. There's an advisor that helps with studying, study skills and stuff. So yes, but originally that was on 7 and stuff. But there was also a faculty lounge up there, which was very nice. And then the university system said you couldn't have faculty lounges, so it became a classroom.
Why do you think that was?
I don't think you were supposed to be lounging.
Are we working hard or hardly working? What are we doing here, people?
I don't know exactly. Maybe somebody's lounge got out of hand. That wasn't the case for us.
Mm-hmm.
It was, we would have different social events up there, like if we had an honorary degree candidate, we might have a reception up there, kind of thing. So now it's a classroom.
Yeah, that's cool. So I did hear online that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that there are like 1,200 rare books in this building alone?
No, not in this building, but so when the Center for Nursing History, we have a 3-pronged approach. Stuff like uniforms, capes, equipment and stuff, the things you see here come here. Okay, the records and photographs go to archives, because UWM Archives is also Historical Society and is also Milwaukee Public Archives. It's lots of stuff. And then the rare books go to special collections. So Max Yella, who's the librarian there, took an interest when he came back in, the 90s, in the history of nursing and healthcare. At the time, I had over 400 books in this building, and he got very interested, and so he came and got them, took them to special collections, and then proceeded to collect. So in special collections, there is a history of nursing and healthcare collection that is over 1,200 volumes, yes.
Wow.
And stuff, because he went after a lot of the rarer books.
Gotcha. And special collections, like what exactly do they do? Is that like a... They're
on the 4th floor of the library, and they have vaults even, because they have some very rare books, and they have pamphlets, monographs, pamphlets. So they have UWM history stuff. They also have other topics. They also, I understand, have a very large LGBTQ plus collection that is very rare. I've seen that, in print and stuff. And so stuff that you wouldn't have on the library shelf, because you don't want it to circulate like that. I mean, anybody can go up there and request one, and they'll pull it out for you from their collection. But it's more rare stuff. And so most of the rare nursing books are there and stuff. And they came over a couple of times. A graduate assistant came over and looked in our storeroom downstairs where there's some books and took what they didn't have so that they could add it to that collection.
So people use a lot of the books from there. They can use them for their research projects or like anything else. It's like totally open.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So if you go on the library digital card catalog, there if you find a book, and then it might say special collections, which means then you go up to the 4th floor and talk to the staff up there.
How would you describe like this nursing program that we have here at UWM, like compared to like other schools? Like, do you think, like what, how is it like different from like other schools? Do you know?
Well, its differences also involve UWM, because we're the largest school in the state of Wisconsin. We admit every semester, which many schools don't. They admit once a year. We run a full duplicate at UW Parkside and have since the 80s. We were running, we still are running a duplicate at Waukesha, but because Waukesha's going to be closing, those students are coming over here and stuff. So we had the first PhD program for nursing in the state of Wisconsin, 1984, and the first online PhD program in the country. And stuff. So the school has been through, a lot of firsts. With UWM, I'm sure you know that UWM has the largest veterans population of any of the state universities in the state of Wisconsin. So we have a lot of veterans here. I taught a class last month for one of the entry classes, and it's a class where they have a bachelor's degree and they want to be a nurse. So there's an accelerated 2-year program that they can come into for that. So these were the new admittees that I gave a class to. And in that class, there must have been at least 5 veterans that spoke up out of, I think it was 30. And it was interesting because I'm a veteran. I was a Navy nurse. And so when one of the students first said something about he was Army, and I said, I'm Navy. And then all these students were like, oh, I'm in the Marines, and and this kind of stuff. It was really funny. But that's a UWM thing, not just nursing. But nursing, of course, has that. And there's a very active research program. The school at one time had 5 nursing centers, which were clinics. Usually located in areas where people didn't have much access to health care. And now they have one that's at House of Peace. And there's a nurse practitioner that's there and stuff. But we had one at Silver Spring Neighborhood Center, and I understand there's still some activities that the school supports there and stuff. But House of Peace is the one that's really still active today. That's very unique. And we were early leaders in that. One of our deans actually was the founder of the national organization about the nursing centers, nurse managed centers they're called.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute my phone. Could you repeat that last sentence so that we don't get that on camera? Not bad. Sorry.
I did mine.
I can only be professional for so long.
I know. It's like, you need a list.
I know, right?
That's how our seniors do, as we have lists, So anyway, the nursing center. So one of the deans that was here, Sally Lundeen, was nationally involved in the organization for nurse managed centers and stuff. And they exist at a number of the bigger schools in the country. Now the museums, there's only 6 in the country. So we're one of 6, which that brochure back there would tell you that. And we have the largest collection in the country. So nobody has a bigger collection than us.
That's awesome.
And people find us. I got a call yesterday that a woman who's in South Carolina, and her mother graduated from the old Milwaukee County Medical Center in 1952. And she has her uniforms and her cape and was looking for a place for them. And somehow she found me online. That's the second call in 2 weeks that I've gotten where people want to donate things because we show up when they're looking for stuff. And nursing history-wise, schools of nursing used to be in hospitals. Okay, and you got a 3-year diploma. You didn't get a degree and stuff. That was where nursing started. And in Milwaukee, there was a lot of them, every hospital. And they used the student nurses as labor. But as you got into St. Mary's was the first to close, and they closed in 65. And then the others closed up until County was last, Milwaukee County, and that was 94. But the alumni groups from those places are very strong because in those hospital schools there was a dorm. Everybody lived together. They had curfews, and they were very close-knit. And so when they started to close, then we got all of the stuff, we got all the memorabilia. We have 6 or 7 schools, and we have in the local room, we have displays for their stuff. Archives has all the records, the photographs. From one of the places, they got over 3,000 photographs and stuff. So and some of the hospitals closed also.
Why was that?
Well, because there was less of a need. You know, like it used to be when you had a baby, you were in the hospital for 10 days, particularly if you had a cesarean section. Otherwise, you were in the hospital for a week. Now, 24 hours is about it. You know, so they move people through. And there was a lot more, health has improved on people and stuff, and people, you know, there's more prevention, there's more home care. So there was not a need. At one point, they predicted within 5 years, 5 hospitals would close in Milwaukee. It took 3 years, and 5 of them closed. A lot of them downtown area and stuff. So, and then the schools started closing before that because they were expensive to have. And so, but for us, we got the artifacts, we got the records, the photographs to preserve for historical research. One graduate student I was talking to recently was talking about a certain research project she wants to do, and using the records that are in the archives of some of those hospital schools of nursing would be very good for her.
Yeah.
So.
It seems like a cool project.
Yeah. And you know, now there's a lot of nursing schools in the city, university ones, and there's 2 associate degree programs, 2-year programs, one at MATC and one at WCTC in Waukesha County. But there's a lot of undergraduate programs and more and more masters, and Marquette and UWM have the doctoral programs.
Can we go back just a little bit, because I noticed that we talked a lot about the veterans here at UWM, and we didn't get to hear a lot about you as a Navy nurse.
Oh,
and I want
okay.
to learn more about that, like what made you want to do it. Do you come from a Navy or a military type family, and like?
Yeah. And there are, I have 2 oral histories. One is at the Wisconsin Veterans Museum, and then another one is at UWM, where Veterans Museum for sure, they went through my entire Navy career and stuff. Well, when I was in school in Madison, Vietnam War was on, and they needed nurses. And so Army and Navy both had programs where you could sign up, and I signed up at the end of my junior year, and they would pay for everything, and then you owed them like either 2 years or 3 years. My roommate joined the Army, I joined the Navy. So and as students, you can relate to this, our stipend that we got every month was $750, okay? Our rent was for each of us $75.
I was gonna say that for that time period, that seems like a lot of money.
It was a lot of money, and so I mean, and then not only that, but her father had a friend that worked at the old Schlitz Brewery, and so the mislabeled or misfilled bottles and stuff we got for $2 a case, and so we had a lot of parties at our place. Anyway, so then I owed, and they also paid our tuition, our books, all of that stuff, everything, all for free. And so that was my senior year, so I owed them 2 years. So I joined the Navy. I wanted to go on a hospital ship, and the hospital ships are in Vietnam. By the time I graduated, the hospital ships had been pulled out of Vietnam, as had the Navy nurses. So anyway, I was sent to the National Naval Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. And if you watch TV now, and they talk about anybody in higher administration and stuff being treated, they call it the Walter Reed National Medical Center, because Walter Reed and the Navy one combined. But I was out there for a couple of years in Washington, D.C. And then I went to graduate school, and the pay was too good to, if I stayed in the reserves, I could make as much in 2 days a month in the reserves as I could 2 or 3 days a week working as a nurse. And so I stayed in the reserves. And then when I left Minneapolis and came here, I